welcome to the Friday Bean. Happy Friday, guys. Mr. Moore is not feeling well today, so it's just going to be us together, but this episode is extra special. First of all, because I'm not live. I know it seems like I'm live because the video is live and there's a live chat, but I am not here. We are currently at a music festival, and this is being pre-recorded on September the 11th at 4:25 p.m. So I am pre-recording, that way you guys don't have to go an entire week without all of the awesome Friday Bean goodness. But I thought that this would be a really great opportunity to do a webinar together, because these episodes where we're pre-recording tend to be a lot shorter. So I do encourage you guys to use the live chat with yourselves. It is technically streaming live. I'm just not really here. So as always, we've still got our Friday Bean charity, which is St. Jude Children's Hospital. Please consider donating sometime during the stream if you enjoy what we discussed today. Now, what we're going to be covering today, it's a little silly. It is a webinar that I presented in the past. It's been over a year. It's a very newbie-friendly topic, but it's a lot of fun. And I feel like when you incorporate visuals, and I don't know, when I was a kid, I feel like having little songs and acronyms and little rhymes and things when I was learning, it was the stuff that helped me retain information better. It was funny when I was in, I think it was like my first year of high school, we had to label like the first half of the periodic table. And I couldn't remember it. I couldn't remember how to label the periodic table. But my stepdad told me, oh, you just have to remember Ha, He, Labib, Kanofni, Namagal, Sips, Clarka. And I still remember that. I probably couldn't, label a periodic table today, but I could get pretty close just by remembering that silly little acronym, because I remembered it all these years. And now my daughter's approaching that age, and I'm probably going to be teaching it to her. So anyway, this is just one of those examples that I hope connects with many of you. We're going to be covering an Etsy success recipe today. Like I mentioned, I've done this webinar in the past, but when I recorded it, there were a lot of tech issues. So I'm hoping that by re-recording it, we can keep it nice and short and concise. And you guys can, maybe share it if you ever see anybody who's a newbie at Etsy and they need the extra help. So we're going to be getting into it. Let me go ahead and get my stuff all together. Normally, this is where Mark is helping me out. Okay, so are you guys ready? This might be familiar for those of you who religiously watch the Friday Bean. Let's go ahead and share my screen. Uh-oh, my face isn't on there. I wonder if Mr. Moore knows that. You know what? We're not going to worry about my face. I'm not going to drag him downstairs just so I can have him put my face on the Friday Bean. Okay, so we're doing it without Starla's face today. But, guys, it's Etsy taco time. So this is a fun webinar today. It is hopefully going to be something that you remember when it comes to building out a perfect Etsy success recipe. And, if you've been around for a while, maybe you have all but one ingredient. Maybe you're brand new and you don't have any of the ingredients. Maybe you have 2 or 3 of the ingredients, but you don't have a full taco. So today what we're going to be focusing on is building your entire Etsy taco bar. So what is the Etsy taco bar, might you ask? It is a silly thing that I made up. So hopefully it connects with you, because I had a lot of fun making this. So we have our acronym, taco bar. That's all you got to remember for now. If you're taking notes, just on each line, write one of the letters, taco bar. The T in taco bar stands for target customer. That is the ingredient you gotta have first for your taco bar. Target customer identification is so insanely important, because there are so many things that depend on who your target customer is. A lot of the other letters in this acronym will depend on who your target customer is. And there are products that fail all the time because a company did not have a good understanding of their target customer. For example, if you Google the brand pinky gloves, you will see some of the most outrageous things you've ever seen in your life. Basically, two brothers in Germany decided, they noticed that when it was their female roommate's time of the month, that she must be having a really hard time. She clearly, she's struggling with this problem. And they invented pink latex gloves. Here, let me go back to my face. They invented pink latex gloves for women that they could put on when they need to take care of their feminine things. I'm trying to, I don't know if there's children watching, but anyway, obviously women don't need latex gloves. It was insulting first and foremost, and they clearly didn't actually talk to a woman. So when they launched this product, it backfired immediately. I don't even think that they made the products, but I don't think that they actually hit a point where they were selling them. So anyway, understanding your target customer, so important, because you have to know who you're selling to and specific demographics about them. So here's how we can easily break down our target customer. Again, hopefully you're writing this down because these are good notes. Who is interested in buying my products? Is it, millennial women? Is it teenagers starting their first year of college? Is it businessmen? Is it hippie dads? So identifying who is interested in buying the product. What problems does my product solve? And I hear it all the time. People will say, well, my product doesn't solve a problem. Yes, it does. Every single product on earth solves a problem. It doesn't need to be a, world-ending problem. It doesn't need to be, a life or death problem. It can be a simple problem. It can be I need a nice necklace to wear for work that isn't too big or chunky. I just need like a nice minimalist professional necklace to fit all of my work clothes, for example. I need a good smelling handmade soap that will make my hands smell nice without dehydrating my skin. There are tons of ways that you can solve problems with your product. So if you're unsure, feel free to post in the chat and, talk amongst yourselves when it comes to your products. Post what you sell and, hey, what problem could my product solve? Or if you're watching the replay, or if you want to deep dive even more, down in the video description, join the Handmade Alpha Facebook community. It's free. It is a huge community of sellers, and it is a great place to get feedback from others who might also be, struggling with the same things. So next, when are they likely to search for my product? Well, if you make Christmas earrings, they're probably only searching for them a very specific time of year. So understanding if there's a seasonality to your product. Is there a seasonality to certain products that you offer? Like maybe you have a couple back to school items that you only launch at a certain time. If you sell warm winter hats, you're probably not selling very many of those in the summer. So just understanding what time of year, when they're going to search. Where are they hanging out online? That's an important one because that's going to tell you where you should be advertising. Now, you can find this information out by using something like Google Analytics. You can set up Google Analytics and connect it to your Etsy shop. But Etsy tends to, I think that they do already have some built-in demographics, to show you where traffic is coming from. Pinterest is typically the biggest driver of most traffic on Etsy, but it doesn't need to be your big traffic driver. If you're really good at making short form videos, then Instagram Reels and TikTok might be for you. If you prefer Pinterest, hey, Pinterest might be for you. So understanding who your target demographic is, if they're young, if they're really young, they're probably on TikTok. If they're moms, maybe they have a little bit more money to spend, they might be on Pinterest. Why should they choose me over my competitors? That is so important. And don't just think about your competitors on Etsy. Think about competitors that exist outside of Etsy as well. What can you do to make sure that you're matching up to those competitors? Maybe your photos are really bad. Maybe your competitors have fantastic photos and yours are really bad. So that tells you, okay, why would someone choose my products when my photos are so bad. It doesn't mean your product's bad, but a bad photo of a good product still equals a bad product in the eyes of your target audience. So how can I connect to their morals and values? This is a big one. If you sell eco-friendly products, for example, maybe all your packaging shouldn't be plastic. Or, maybe that's going to upset someone's morals and values. I think that this is one that we often don't think about as much, but it's really important for understanding what is important to that ideal target customer. So let's pretend that we are selling tacos. We have a taco reference, and we're going to apply this to our taco restaurant. Let's say that our tacos are super trendy. We have, I don't know, what's trendy right now. We have avocado, cauliflower, birria, the tacos. And we're gearing those towards a millennial market. So we're picking crazy, trendy tacos. Maybe we're naming them after memes or, making them edgy so that millennials will like the tacos. I'll eat a crazy barbacoa, avocado, cauliflower taco. All right, what problem will our tacos solve? Well, it's easy to say that, like, oh yeah, our tacos solve the problem of being hungry. That's a lazy answer. That's the obvious answer. A deeper answer might be, well, maybe our menu items are really easy to pronounce, and that solves the problem of shy ordering. I don't know about you guys, but if I go to a restaurant and I can't pronounce what's on the menu, I just don't order that item. Unless there's like a number that I can point to, like I'll have a number 7. But if it's awkward to order, I won't order it. We have a taco place here called the Rusty Taco. I'm sure that you guys there's some of you who probably have Rusty Tacos in your area, but there is one called a Corny Pig. I'm like, I would never go up to a counter and order can I get a corny pig? I'm never going to order that. That's so silly. So making easy menu items, things that aren't too silly. Since our tacos are ordered more in the summer, maybe we run frequent specials in the colder months. Maybe our tacos are very, very yummy, but when you think of tacos, maybe you think of warmer seasons, and it's better to run some awesome sales to drum up business in the winter. Where? Well, maybe our millennial audience spends most of its time on Instagram. So we create an incentive program for those who use our hashtag or who tag us in their photos. You can create a lot of fun stuff with Instagram. Make some reels of the most amazing looking tacos. Why choose us? Well, maybe customers love that they have a revolving menu to choose from. And maybe our taco restaurant has secret menu items that, you feel like you're in the know when you get to order a secret menu item. And how our customers value a fun and relaxed experience that they can share with friends. Maybe our taco place is so nice, it looks really pretty inside. There's nice seating, lots of room, big open space. Maybe there's a good drink menu, yada, yada. So that's target customer. Next is advertising. And that does not mean putting a bunch of money into ads. Advertising can just be posting on social media. So by understanding your target audience, you can more easily connect with them in the online spaces that they spend time on, like Instagram, like Pinterest, like TikTok, for example. So let's say for our taco place, we already talked about using Instagram. We share mouth-watering Instagram reels of our weekly taco specials, then cross-post those videos to our TikTok and YouTube shorts as well, because if you've already recorded that content, why not recycle it? We also share secret code words on social media that can unlock secret menu items when ordering. So maybe our secret code word is pomegranate, for example, and if you say the word pomegranate when ordering, you can unlock this delicious-looking birria taco. Next, customer service. So important for Etsy. Let me take a drink real quick. It's especially important for Etsy in particular because customer service and getting good reviews also helps with your search ranking. So, always treat those customers the way that you want to be treated if you were in their shoes. I cannot tell you how many times that I look at Etsy groups and see sellers just being awful to their customers. I don't understand it. I feel like so many sellers assume that every single customer is trying to scam them. Do I have to replace this customer's order even though it arrived broken? Do I have to do this? Oh, I think this person is trying to scam me. Yeah, it happens. Sometimes there occasionally will be customers who are, trying to get something for free, yada, yada, but it's not happening as much as you think. In fact, most customers just want to get the thing that they ordered. So I recommend creating customer scenarios. I want you to think of all the worst case scenarios that could possibly happen with one of your packages. Sit down, write as many down as you can, and then come up with an action plan for how you're going to handle them based on how you would want to be treated. And think about it as if it was something that you were ordering online. Maybe you think about it as if it was Amazon. You were ordering from Amazon. What would you want the seller to do if your item didn't arrive on time for a special date, like a birthday? What would you want the seller to do if your item was lost in the mail? Or if it was a clothing item and it didn't fit correctly? What if your item arrived and it was broken in the package? What would you want the seller to do for you? What if you received the wrong item? I've done that. When I sold jewelry, there were several occasions where I accidentally got packages swapped up. I don't know how it happened, but it definitely did. What about if your item was not what you expected? Or if your item was marked as delivered but didn't arrive? Around the holidays, we'll probably see a bit of this because sometimes the mail truck will scan the package when they put it on the truck, but then they won't remember to actually deliver it that day, or it'll get pushed to the back for the following day. So just making sure that customers are aware and letting them know that you have their back is so important. All right. Next is optimization. And you guys know how much I love SEO. However, since this is an SEO webinar and I have so much content on SEO, we're going to keep it short today. So this is understanding all areas of your shop that can be optimized for Etsy search. This is essential for reaching your ideal target customers because you need to be using the words in your listings that these customers are searching for. And since we're on a time crunch, we are just going to do a little fusion with some ramen today. Grab my free Etsy SEO Tools toolbox. I'll leave it down below. This is basically a big toolbox of all of the free Etsy SEO resources that I offer, including several courses. My Etsy course titled The Science of Etsy Success that talks about all of the factors that Etsy looks at when it comes to ranking products. That is probably one of the best webinars I've ever done. I was not as experienced recording at the time, but still good content. So definitely check that out. I will put the link down below. All right. Next is branding. This one is especially important because it's not just your logo. Handmade Alpha Academy students know this better than anyone because we have so many lessons about the psychology of branding colors and creating a great atmosphere and the 7-second rule. So we'll keep it short. But your branding inspires the emotions that you want your ideal customer to feel about your business. Within 7 seconds of clicking on your storefront, I should know exactly how you want me to feel. I should understand your brand. I should get an idea of who your products are for. And I should have an emotion triggered. And you can do that through imagery. You can do that through colors. There's so many different things that you can do to trigger those emotions. So let's play a little game. Let's test this out for ourselves. Let's pretend that Starla and Mark have invited you to a private coaching call, and you get to take us to a restaurant. We're buying, but you get to pick the restaurant you want to take us to. We told you we want to go to a Mexican restaurant, and you've got 2 choices pulled up. You can either take us to the place on the left or the place on the right. Now, The place on the right, in my experience, probably has bangin' tacos. I bet that they have the best food. However, if you're trying to impress us, I'm going to guess that based on the ambience and atmosphere, and you're really, really trying to, make a good impression, you're probably going to take us to the Mexican restaurant on the left, right? Because it presents itself better. The food at these two restaurants might be exactly the same, but the ambience, the emotions, the setting, all of those parts of this restaurant's branding come off as more professional. Let me know, which restaurant would you rather eat at? I tell you what, I've eaten at a lot of restaurants that are like the one on the right. And I've eaten quite a few times at restaurants like the one on the left. Food tastes better to me when I'm in a pretty setting. I don't know why, even if the food is just as good. I feel like it's because I'm very aware of my surroundings, and my surroundings really influence the way that food tastes for me. I think that I would really like to go to the one on the left. I wish I knew where this was. I found this image on Google. I should reverse image search it because it's a really pretty restaurant. All right. Moving on, analytics. This is so important for your business because it gives you a deeper understanding of data that is related to your target customers. Again, so analyzing your shop data can help you to understand what's working in your store, what isn't working, so that you can find solutions that help you grow. So let's look at this in the context of our churros shop. Let's say that our churros sell really, really well in the winter, but for some reason orders drop by 50% in the summer, and we're not quite sure why. So we decide to experiment, and we're going to offer a fresh summer berry churro to create fresh interest in this item that otherwise isn't selling. And we advertise our new churros all over social media. Maybe we use that code word. Maybe we create those really yummy reels showing people our delicious churros. Then we closely monitor our analytics to see if your berry churros are more popular with buyers. And here's the big one, which social media platforms are driving the most sales of your berry churros. This is where we need to start looking at our data. We can look at where some of our traffic is coming from within Etsy. Google Analytics is the very best way to do this because you can get more precise data. If you just went through the Alpha Holiday Bootcamp last week, you guys probably already know how to set all this up and why it's important. It was in day 5 with eRank CEO Anthony Wolf. But regardless, there's tons of videos on setting up Google Analytics if you need to learn how to do so. And lastly, relevance. Now, most of the time when I talk about relevance in reference to Etsy, I'm talking about SEO because relevancy is one of the leading factors that help your listings to rank. That's how relevant the words are in your title and tags to the query that someone types into an Etsy search bar. That's how you connect with shoppers. However, in this case, we're actually talking about cultural relevance. So this is so true. We see it all the time with businesses that fail. Complacency is the death of business. Think about Toys R Us. I believe that they're starting to try to make a comeback, but Toys R Us, this business that was huge. I mean, I remember being a kid, being so excited to get the big Toys R Us catalog in the mail right before Christmas. I would circle everything I wanted so that my mom could send the whole catalog to Santa Claus. I mean, I loved Toys R Us. Why did Toys R Us fail at a time when there were Lego building competitions taking place? This is when Lego building competitions really started taking off. Why were they not hosting those in store? Why were they outsourcing their shipping to Amazon? Why weren't they shipping their own products? There were so many ways that Toys R Us did not maintain their relevancy, and because of that, their business failed. What worked yesterday is not going to work tomorrow. Ask Blockbuster. Ask Hollywood Video. Ask Netflix is an example of a brand that adapted. They made themselves relevant by moving from a DVD, in the mail model to moving to a streaming service. That's an example of relevancy. Whereas poor Blockbuster, I believe that Netflix reached out to them to try to make a deal. And Blockbuster was like, nah, that's never going to be successful. Yeah, well, I guess now we know because Blockbuster doesn't exist anymore. So, keeping up with modern trends, photography styles, marketing strategies, and best practices, those things are essential for survival. My grandma always said, if you can't run with the big dogs, stay on the porch. Unfortunately, that's business. You got to keep running, 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 running. So, let's say for our restaurant, we'll say that in 2024, searches for mocktails increased by 59%. And previously, we were only offering, full alcohol like margaritas and things. Now, in order to stay relevant, let's say that our restaurant offers a all new line of unique, seasonally inspired, alcohol-free cocktails. We decide to expand our menu out. We test all different ones. Again, we can promote those on social media. We can make sure that we're taking really good videos, maybe even videos of us making them, people trying our new drinks. I would say that over the last few years, more and more restaurants that I eat at have mocktails. In fact, it's something my daughter, when we go, because she is 13, she always asks if they have a mocktail menu so that she can get herself something and feel fancy drinking from a pretty cup. But anyway, this is your Etsy taco bar. And this is so important with the holiday season right around the corner, especially if you are brand new. So September, this month, whether you attended the Alpha Holiday Bootcamp last week or not, I want you to focus on building your own Etsy taco bar. Identify your target customer. Work on advertising, deciding an advertising strategy for yourself, hopefully by exploring your target customers more and answering those questions at the beginning of the presentation. You are better equipped to understand where to advertise, what type of advertising might connect. If not, look at what your competitors are doing on those platforms. If you sell, I don't know, beautiful minimalist silver jewelry, maybe hop on Instagram or TikTok and see what other beautiful minimalist silver jewelry sellers are doing for their advertising. Customer service, get those strategies in place now. Around the holiday season, things are bound to go wrong. Unfortunately, I wish it wasn't the case, but sometimes they do. Mail delays happen, bad weather happens, you never know. So build out your customer service strategy now by thinking of those worst case scenarios ahead of time. And always treat your customer the way that you would want to be treated if you were in the exact same situation. Keep in mind, if you've got to replace a product and resend something new, out in the mail, that's a tax write-off. You can just write that off as a business expense. Make sure that your customers are getting what they pay for. In fact, in the UK, it's you have to. You don't have a choice. You have to make sure it's UK and EU, I believe. You have to make sure that the customer receives what they paid for. Optimization, that's the SEO portion. Again, too much to cover today, but grab the Etsy SEO Tools toolbox. Branding, understanding the ambience and the emotions that you want your ideal customer to feel based on the visual elements of your brand, your big shop banner, your logo, how you photograph your products, and even how you present yourself in your social media posts. Those all contribute to your branding. Analytics, that's diving into your own data and trying to make sense of it and understand it in a way that's useful to you. Where's your traffic coming from? What social media is driving the most traffic? And can you really buckle down on that particular platform? Who are your target customers? You can learn more about them through your analytics as well. You can see, if you have Google Analytics set up, is it mostly men or women, for example? And relevance, making sure that you are staying relevant to the times, which, let me go ahead and stop sharing. There we go. Let me take a drink of water. It's so weird without Mark here because he normally talks when I need a drink. So with relevance, it made me think, it's so funny. Yesterday, I asked my daughter about this thing I've been hearing in younger crowds. And I have to bring it up, and I'm embarrassed to even bring it up, especially during a webinar. But have you guys seen the start digging in your butt twin thing? I have have a feeling that this is going to be everywhere in our eRank data. When we get our data for September, I had to look it up because I was like, surely my daughter isn't correct. But yeah, it's a thing. Kids telling themselves, start digging in your butt twin, which apparently means like, hey, focus, like focus. And here I'm just like, ew. But apparently it's not something gross. So anyway, if you wanted to be relevant and funny, you know, maybe you post something about that. Maybe I noticed that when Taylor Swift announced her new album, I don't know anything about Taylor Swift, new album, all the big brands had orange glitter, like they were publishing, you know, posts with the orange glitter, for example. Whatever the viral meme is at the time, you know, getting in on those things, making those funny references, all of that stuff can help you to stay relevant, but also making sure that you're incorporating that relevance into your product design as well. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out. I really do appreciate you coming here on the days that are, you know, pre-recorded. It is always awesome to be able to hang out with you live, but we've been doing this for, oh man, 4 years now? Is it 4 or 5? 4 or 5 years every single Friday, and we haven't missed one. So even when we can't be here with you, we don't want to break your pattern up. We know that some of you look forward to this all week, and we love the opportunity to be able to chat with you here and now. Tuesday's video, if you missed it, that video, I actually just recorded it. If you're wondering about my outfit, it's the same one. That video is going to talk about some news that we heard about Etsy's titles that came directly from Etsy, the title update. Basically, to keep it short, please go watch the video for the whole thing. But Etsy confirmed to us over at eRank, we have a contact with Etsy. They confirmed that there is no penalty for not changing your titles. There wasn't some mass algorithmic change, which is exactly what we suspected. It's nothing like that. And you shouldn't see a reduction in visibility just because you've chosen not to use that new AI tool or you've chosen not to touch your titles. And they also implied that listings that are already performing well, you don't need to touch those. You don't need to change those, you know, using, how do they put it? Using their tool is only necessary for like, if you feel like you need to, basically, like if a listing is not performing well. So check out that video. It's a lot more polished than this. I've been recording all day, so I've been really exhausted. But if you missed that video, check that out. This upcoming Tuesday, I have another big update. I'll give you a sample real quick. I recorded that video today as well. But basically, we've had some students who have had their listings deactivated for utilizing terms like ADHD, autism, and even just stress in their listings, even though they're not making medical claims. You can't make medical claims and say, my product, you know, cures your stress. It cures your anxiety. You can't say that. But these products weren't making medical claims. They just mentioned ADHD in their tags. And they were like fidget toys and things. It was nothing, you know, it wasn't a product that would solve a problem anyway. So we are a little bit nervous because in some of the students' communication with Etsy, Etsy alluded that it's not safe to use terms like that at all, which is concerning because what about awareness products? What about like t-shirts that say autism awareness, for example? So with that in mind, that video is coming up on Tuesday. Definitely watch it. It'll be posting at 12:15 p.m. Eastern time. If you have listings like that in your shop, just keep an eye on them. The shops aren't getting deactivated. I don't think you're getting any type of strike, but it would be really unfortunate if you had like a best-selling fidget toy, for example, and Etsy deactivated it and you lost all of that positive history that you had. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out. I appreciate you. Please consider donating to St. Jude. Charity is down below the chat somewhere. And yeah, I guess Mark and I will see you this upcoming Friday for our next episode of the Friday Bean. Bye, guys. How do I turn this off? How do I turn this off? Bye, guys.